You lie back and close your eyes, noticing the faint, rhythmic beating within your chest. Each thrum is a marker of passing seconds, gentle and dependable, a subtle whisper of life's continuity. Around you, the world hums in soft patterns. The sway of a branch, the distant flight of a bird, the slow drift of clouds. Time seems calm here, steady, a river flowing gently beneath the surface of your attention. You inhale slowly, and as your lungs fill, you sense the seconds stretching, the moments lingering, each one precise and yet effortlessly fleeting. You imagine yourself floating above the earth, weightless and free. Beneath you, the oceans glimmer like mirrors, reflecting sunlight that travels across vast distances to reach the spinning globe. Each ray of light carries not just warmth, but information. A message from the sun, delivered after a journey of 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Even this delay reminds you that time is a companion that can bend and stretch, shaped by distance and motion. If you drift farther still, away from the blue planet, the stars appear, countless and luminous. Some twinkle faintly, others shine steadily. Yet all are ancient, their light having traveled hundreds, thousands, even millions of years to reach your eyes. You realize that what you see as a single instant is actually a layered tapestry of history, a mosaic stitched together by light and time. Moments are not simply linear here. They are echoes, whispers from distant places, softly reminding you that time is neither rigid nor absolute. Your mind wanders to the ideas of Albert Einstein, who saw time not as a universal metronome but as a flexible companion, intimately linked with space itself. You picture him gently sketching diagrams, his hand moving slowly, yet with precision, capturing the invisible curvature of the cosmos. You sense the gentle truth he uncovered, that motion can stretch time, that gravity can slow its passage. Imagine a clock atop a mountain, and another at sea level. The one higher up ticks ever so slightly faster, freed from the deeper grasp of Earth's pull. The difference is imperceptible to daily life, but it exists. A quiet reminder that time has texture, pliable and responsive, like water molding itself around stones in a stream. You drift alongside a satellite orbiting the Earth. Its instruments tick and hum, measuring not just distance and speed, but the subtleties of time itself. Up here, far from the surface, the satellite ages more slowly than those beneath it, a subtle temporal dance taking place, invisible yet real. You wonder at the elegance of it. Each second, each tick, precisely measured, yet experienced differently depending on your vantage point. Time is a companion that shifts its pace, a river whose current is gentle in one place and swift in another. As you return closer to Earth, you notice how ordinary life is bathed in this invisible flow. Children laugh in a garden, their movements light and unhurried. A cat stretches in the sun, each muscle rolling softly, unperturbed by the hours that surround it. You watch droplets of dew gathering on a leaf, reflecting morning light, each one holding a tiny moment of existence. Even in these simple, familiar rhythms, the passage of time is subtle, layered, intricate. You feel a profound serenity in recognizing that time is both universal and intimate, spanning galaxies while dwelling quietly in the pulse of your body. You take a slow, conscious breath and imagine the gentle curvature of space around massive objects. The Earth, the Moon, the Sun. You see the invisible warp in the fabric of existence, a soft, undulating field that guides the flow of moments. If you were to fall toward a black hole, time near its edge would stretch, slow, and elongate, each second expanding into something almost tangible. Far from danger, you understand this only intellectually, yet even in thought, the mind can sense the weight and pliancy of temporal tides. There is no fear here, only wonder at the delicate balance that allows the universe to breathe and evolve. You picture yourself drifting along a cosmic river, carried gently by currents of gravity and light. Each instant flows into the next, but the river bends, swirls, and widens in unexpected ways. Your heartbeat continues its steady rhythm, synchronized in subtle harmony with the vastness of space. You notice how the slow, deliberate passage of moments can bring a quiet joy, a chance to observe, to feel, to reflect. In this way, time is not a cage but a companion, a soft hand guiding you through the unfolding story of the universe. As night deepens, you feel a kinship with every clock, every star, every heartbeat. Even as you close your eyes further, you sense the gentle symmetry between small and vast, between personal experience and cosmic flow. Time is not lost or hurried. It exists as a tender current, flowing differently across each landscape, yet present everywhere. Your mind touches the concept of simultaneity, the subtle realization that now is never quite the same from one vantage point to another. This revelation is soft, not alarming. A gentle nudge toward curiosity, toward awe, toward the quiet comfort of mystery. The next thought drifts naturally. If time bends and shifts, if it moves gently like water, what might that mean for all the moments yet to come? You feel an expanding awareness of your own life, the lives of others, and the rhythmic cycles of the cosmos. Each breath, each beat, each sunlit second is a note in an infinite composition, a melody carried across space and shaped by unseen hands. You rest in the understanding that even as moments pass, they are never lost. They ripple outward, touching places you cannot see, influencing the flow in subtle, intricate ways. You let yourself linger here, in this quiet communion with time. You notice how even in stillness, motion exists. Light traveling, planets orbiting, atoms vibrating, your own chest rising and falling. Time is not simply a measure of what has been or what will be, but a soft, living thread weaving through every experience. In its pliancy, you find comfort. In its constancy, you find stability. In its subtle mystery, you find inspiration. As your awareness drifts slowly back toward your own body, you sense the gentle connection between the cosmic and the personal. Your pulse, your breath, the quiet tick of a nearby clock. These are the touch points of a river flowing far beyond comprehension. And yet, as you listen, you recognize that you are part of this rhythm. You are carried along, moment by moment, heartbeat by heartbeat, in a dance that has been going on for billions of years, and will continue long after any single instant passes. And in that quiet realization, your mind begins to wander toward the mysteries of what comes next. The invisible threads of space, the gentle pull of gravity, the unseen forces shaping the universe, and the tender question of how everything, motion, light, matter, and time, fits together in the endless, unfolding story that is still waiting to be felt. You open your eyes to the velvet darkness of space, a quiet expanse stretching endlessly in every direction. Stars shimmer like distant lanterns, their light steady, patient, ancient. You feel weightless here, suspended, and yet there is a tug, a gentle pull, a whisper of something invisible that reaches out across the void. This is gravity, subtle and unassuming, the invisible thread that binds planets, moons, and stars in a delicate cosmic dance. As you drift closer to a planet, its presence grows. You do not hear it, you cannot touch it, yet you sense it pressing softly against your being. It is not harsh or forceful. It is a careful embrace, a patient insistence that nothing floats entirely free. Oceans curve gently along its surface, held in place by the same quiet pull that draws your gaze and makes your body sway imperceptibly. Even the air, that thin, almost intangible layer, bends inward, obedient to a force you cannot see but always feel. Time, too, begins to behave differently here. Around massive planets, seconds stretch imperceptibly, slow like honey dripping from a comb. You notice the subtle difference in your heartbeat, the spacing between your breaths, and you wonder if the universe itself is breathing with you. This is not mere imagination. It is the way gravity curves the fabric of time and space. Clocks would tick more slowly here compared to far away, in the emptiness between stars. You feel as if you are standing in a moment that has lingered, a pause in the flow of existence, intimate and profound. Your body floats, buoyed by the absence of weight, yet tethered in ways that are invisible. You imagine the planet below you, immense and patient, shaping the world around it without sound or struggle. Mountains hold their shape, rivers trace careful arcs, and clouds drift lazily across the sky. All are guided, unseen, by this tender, constant pull. Gravity is not a harsh master but a quiet sculptor, coaxing matter into patterns that balance and endure. You turn your gaze outward, toward the stars, and notice how each celestial body dances in response to others. Even light itself bends ever so slightly as it passes near a massive planet, tracing invisible curves that hint at the subtle influence of gravity. You feel a deep kinship with photons traveling across the cosmos, carrying stories of distant suns and far-off worlds, swayed gently by forces that are at once delicate and relentless. The universe feels alive, in motion and in stillness simultaneously, and you are part of this unspoken rhythm. Floating higher, you sense the pull of moons, smaller companions circling their planets in obedient arcs. Each orbit is a conversation between mass and motion, a quiet negotiation that has lasted for eons. You watch how tidal forces stretch and compress oceans, shaping coastlines with a patience no human eye can fully grasp. Gravity is the storyteller here, writing slow, invisible lines that trace across continents and seas, shaping the patterns of life itself. You imagine your own body responding in tiny ways to the same force, blood coursing through veins, bones anchored to muscles, every cell an echo of cosmic law. In the silence, you become aware of the subtle curvature of space itself. A massive planet is not simply a round object. It is a dimple in the fabric of existence, a depression in the invisible sheet that stretches across the universe. You glide along this curve as though moving through a gentle swell, noticing that your path bends ever so slightly, guided by the unseen contours of spacetime. It is as if you are surfing upon something both tangible and intangible, carried forward without effort, embraced entirely by a cosmic current that has no beginning and no end. You begin to think of astronauts on distant spacecraft, moving along precise trajectories that obey the same laws you sense intuitively now. Every maneuver, every course correction, is a negotiation with gravity, a conversation conducted through numbers, angles, and unseen forces. And yet, here, free from instruments and calculations, you simply feel it. A soft pull, a rhythm, a reassurance that even in the vast emptiness, patterns endure, motion continues, and everything remains gently tethered. Time stretches more noticeably now, each moment lingering like a warm exhale. You realize that gravity is not only holding objects together, it is bending the flow of experience itself. You feel the elasticity of seconds, the pliability of minutes, as if the universe has chosen to let you linger here a little longer, to notice, to marvel, to absorb the quiet elegance of cosmic order. You are both observer and participant, drifting through a moment that is alive with invisible forces. Your mind wanders to the earth below, imagining the subtle interactions that gravity orchestrates every day. Water rises in tides, winds follow thermal gradients shaped by planetary rotation, birds and insects move along paths guided by instincts that ultimately trace back to the ever-present tug of mass. You sense how deeply interconnected life is with this silent force, how every step, every breath, every heartbeat is part of a rhythm defined by the same principle that governs the motion of planets and stars. You notice the edges of your perception beginning to blur, as if gravity itself is inviting you into a more fluid state of awareness. Floating becomes more than a physical sensation. It is a mental one. Thoughts drift like clouds across your mind, slow and luminous. The universe no longer feels distant. It feels intimate, folded into the spaces between your inhalations, pressing softly against your consciousness, and shaping the contours of your inner world as gently as it shapes mountains and rivers. As you drift further, the pull of the planet fades gradually, replaced by the faint tug of distant suns and moons. You carry with you the memory of this gentle embrace, the understanding that gravity is both force and friend, shaping time, space, and life in ways that are invisible yet essential. Every glance at the sky, every quiet night by a window, is a chance to sense this tender influence, to feel the invisible currents that link you to oceans, mountains, and the endless dance of planets. The last shimmer of starlight reflects in your mind's eye, and you feel a quiet awe, a sense of belonging in a universe that is vast yet intimately connected. You drift onward, guided by forces you cannot see but now understand in a deeper, almost spiritual way. And as the gentle tug of gravity recedes, a question lingers softly at the edge of your thoughts. How does light itself, the swiftest traveler in the cosmos, respond to the same silent currents that cradle worlds in their invisible hands? You awaken to a quiet hum beneath your skin, a sensation that feels almost like anticipation. The world around you has thinned, leaving only the gentle darkness of space sprinkled with distant points of light. Stars hang like lanterns scattered across an infinite hall. You stretch your arms and feel the faint pulse of your own heartbeat, a rhythm that keeps you tethered even as the universe stretches outward. You begin to move, at first slowly, drifting past familiar constellations. Your motion feels effortless, like swimming through a silent, viscous medium. But then you accelerate, and an unusual sensation unfurls. The clock inside you seems to tick more gently, each second stretching without sound. The universe's rhythm becomes elastic, responsive to your motion. You notice that as your speed increases, the distance between stars seems to compress along the path you travel. Space itself curves in subtle, almost imperceptible ways, whispering the profound rules that govern this cosmic dance. Time, you realize, is no longer a river flowing uniformly. It is pliable, bending and stretching like a soft fabric beneath invisible hands. Your thoughts, your feelings, your awareness, they move within it, but at a pace that feels entirely your own. You marvel at this strange companion, this shape-shifting essence that travels with you. You see the paradox. Moving faster preserves your moments, making your personal experience of time slower than that of those left behind. Youth, in a way, is held close, cocooned by motion itself. Stars blur slightly at the edges as you glide past them, yet each one holds a steady pulse of light. The photons that reach your eyes have been traveling for eons, carrying the silent history of creation. You wonder what it means that while you age gently, imperceptibly, the universe continues its relentless march. Civilizations rise and fall on distant worlds. Oceans evaporate, mountains crumble, and yet here you are, suspended in a personal eternity carved from speed. Your senses expand to feel the subtle consequences of this velocity. The colors of starlight shift, not dramatically, but enough to notice the gentle tilts in wavelength. Blues deepen, reds warm, and every hue becomes a soft echo of the Doppler effect, a quiet reminder that your motion leaves a trace on the very light you observe. The universe responds to your presence in ways that are subtle, almost musical, a harmony of physics and perception. You reach out mentally to imagine the mathematics behind this grace. Equations drift through your mind, but not as numbers. They appear as flowing rivers, bending and twisting with the motion of your journey. Lorentz transformations, time dilation, the constancy of light, all become shapes and textures you can almost touch. They are not rigid, cold formulas. They are soft, intuitive, like whispered truths hidden in the fabric of reality. You sense a deep calm knowing that these invisible rules are constant, reliable, like an unseen hand guiding your voyage. The vast emptiness around you is both serene and exhilarating. You pass by a nebula, its gases swirling in languid motion, colors muted yet vivid in their delicate gradients. You feel a kinship with this slow dance, as if the universe itself teaches patience. Each particle, each photon, moves according to timeless rules, yet your experience of them shifts with velocity. You are an observer, a traveler, a being suspended between the steady march of cosmic time and your own elongated moments. As your speed increases further, you sense a limit approaching, the ultimate speed of light. It is a boundary you cannot cross, not because of force or resistance, but because of the very nature of reality. Space and time conspire to preserve this cosmic speed limit. You realize that acceleration stretches your energy in ways that are invisible but profound. The faster you go, the more the universe adjusts, bending time and space to protect the lightspeed frontier. You feel both exhilaration and humility, knowing that some thresholds are absolute, built into the structure of existence. Your body, though weightless and drifting, feels the subtle tug of relativity. Movements that once seemed effortless now require an awareness that is almost meditative. Every thought, every heartbeat, becomes a quiet acknowledgement of the laws you cannot bend. Yet this awareness is comforting rather than restricting. It reminds you that the universe has patterns, rules that are not arbitrary but harmonious, guiding your journey without haste or cruelty. You are part of a cosmic rhythm, a delicate pulse in the expanse of eternity. Looking back, the stars you passed no longer appear in the same sequence. They are compressed, stretched, subtly shifted in ways that reveal the pliability of space. Light that traveled millions of years to reach you now appears altered by your journey. You feel a deep gratitude for this perspective, an understanding that observation is always personal. Reality is not fixed. It dances with the observer, bending in quiet dialogue with motion and time. You notice something profound. While speed can elongate your moments, it cannot sever you from the universe. Time dilation preserves your personal experience, but the universe continues to evolve around you. Supernovae erupt, galaxies collide, and yet you glide silently, witnessing, feeling, understanding. It is a paradox that leaves you in awe. Motion does not escape reality. It merely allows you to experience it differently, to slow the ticking of your inner clock while the cosmos unfolds in its majestic, unhurried tempo. In this quiet journey, you touch a truth that is both scientific and poetic. The universe is patient, and you are granted the gift of personal time within it. Every moment is elastic, pliable, gently responsive to your movement. You feel an intimate connection to the cosmos, a sense that your motion is not separate from its flow but woven into it. You glide past each star with reverence, each photon a messenger of time and space, whispering the soft secrets of relativity. The paradox of motion and time lingers in your mind. You are younger in your own clock, yet you witness the universe's history in its full expanse. Light speed is a boundary, a horizon you approach with awareness, not fear. It is the cosmic speed limit, an invisible line etched into reality, shaping experience and observation alike. You recognize that limits do not constrain wonder. They refine it, giving depth and context to your journey. And as you drift onward, the question emerges gently, almost as a sigh. If motion bends time, what other quiet truths lie hidden in the folds of space and the passage of seconds? You sense that every encounter, every acceleration, every drift through starlight, is a soft invitation to explore more, to understand the delicate rules that govern existence without haste. The stars ahead seem to shimmer with subtle hints of what's to come, and you feel the gentle pull of curiosity stretching forward, guiding you into the next chapter of your voyage. Imagine two lives, once inseparable, now diverging through space. One remains on Earth, surrounded by familiar rhythms and gentle light. The other journeys among the stars, propelled by engines of human ingenuity, crossing silent distances where only cosmic winds whisper. You feel the subtle tug of their separation, like a thread stretched ever so slightly between your fingers, delicate yet unbreakable. The two of them are still bound by memory, by love, by the shared pulse of existence, even as the universe slowly reshapes the time they inhabit. In the quiet of this moment, you notice how time behaves like a river. On Earth, it meanders lazily through seasons, tides, and sunsets. Days pass with predictable calm, folding into one another like soft sheets of fabric. The twin who stays here moves through life as the river flows, continuous, familiar, measured. Every heartbeat, every thought, drifts along with it, carrying the weight of ordinary human duration. Out in the void, where the stars blink like distant eyes, time begins to stretch in ways that defy intuition. Motion and gravity sculpt it, bending its path imperceptibly, until hours and minutes are no longer the same for each twin. You can almost see it, the invisible expansion of seconds, as the traveler accelerates past planets, past moons, past the delicate arcs of comets. Each moment accumulates differently, creating a rhythm unique to that journey. It is here, in the quiet curvature of space-time, that the twins' ages start to drift apart. You imagine the twin aboard the ship glancing at Earth from a viewport, It appears small, familiar, a jewel suspended in darkness. But each glance reveals subtle differences. Clouds shift, oceans ripple, trees grow. To the traveler, these changes are amplified by distance. Time on Earth seems to flow faster, more fluidly, while the ship carries its own, slower heartbeat. You feel a gentle sorrow in that observation, a recognition that closeness and separation can coexist, that love and longing often fold into one another quietly, without fanfare. Back on Earth, life continues its gentle, predictable course. The twin who stays watches the sky each night, unaware of the minute discrepancies that will one day make a difference. They laugh, sleep, and dream, moving in harmony with the planet's rotations. Yet something within them senses the absence, the subtle emptiness of shared time that no longer syncs perfectly. It is a paradoxical comfort, knowing the other exists, even as the fabric of experience pulls them apart. You notice how this is a mirror of all your relationships, the ones we hold close and those that drift, and how both teach patience and presence. Science offers you a language to understand this gentle divergence. Einstein's theory of relativity whispers through these quiet moments. Time is not universal. It is a shapeable thing molded by motion and gravity. A clock aboard a speeding ship ticks more slowly than one left on Earth. Years that seem ordinary to one twin might barely whisper to the other. This is not fantasy. It is measurable, real. And yet, it is soft, almost tender in its subtlety. A cosmic lullaby that does not demand fear, only curiosity. In your mind, you see the twins side by side, their ages separating imperceptibly. Perhaps the traveler has grown only a little younger in appearance, even as experiences accumulate differently. Perhaps the earthbound twin feels the slow weight of extra hours, as if the planet itself whispers, "Time is patient, yet relentless." You sense a rhythm forming between them, a quiet oscillation. Presence and absence, connection and distance, all balanced on the invisible line of shared memory. You notice the small, human ways this divergence manifests. Letters sent across the void arrive with delay, full of words that feel slightly older than expected. Calls are impossible. Signals drift across light years, taking patience to reach. Yet, in these small gaps, there is poetry. The act of waiting becomes sacred, the pause itself a meditation on the expansiveness of life and the tenderness of bonds stretched across space. You imagine reading a letter from your twin after a long silence, each word heavier, each pause more meaningful, the cadence of communication transformed into ritual. There is a moment when both twins feel the subtle beauty of their divergence. One stands beneath a tree, leaves rustling in the wind, the sunlight touching their skin. The other drifts in zero gravity, the hum of the ship the only sound in a vast emptiness, the stars watching silently. Each is alone, yet together. Each experiences time differently, yet their memories, emotions, and love intertwine. It is a paradox that comforts. Distance can deepen intimacy. Divergence can illuminate connection. You feel this yourself, the quiet wonder that comes from noticing not just presence, but the spaces between. You also notice the impermanence of these differences. Time's river is flexible. When the traveler returns, their ages will not match exactly, but the gap is not loss. It is an illustration of how life stretches and compresses, how experience shapes perception. The twin on Earth may feel older, wiser, changed in ways invisible to the other. The traveler may feel young, yet filled with cosmic insights. Together, they embody the relativity of existence, the interplay between motion, gravity, and human experience. You realize this is a lesson not only about physics, but about empathy. Each perspective is valid, each experience meaningful, each connection alive. In this gentle unfolding, you sense the stillness between movements. Each second is a brushstroke, each hour a layer of paint on the canvas of life. The twins are not separated, they are learning, in quiet, different rhythms, the multiplicity of time. And in this lesson, you find peace. To notice the slow divergence, to honor the invisible lines that shape experience, to feel connection even when paths diverge. You breathe in this understanding, letting it settle in your chest like warm sunlight. There is also wonder in imagining the cumulative effect of years passing differently. A single spaceflight might add a few minutes of difference. A decade could create months of divergence. Yet even as science measures this precisely, the emotional resonance transcends numbers. You feel it in the pause of a conversation, the delayed echo of a laugh, the gentle ache of longing softened by memory. Each twin grows into a life informed by both distance and love, carrying a quiet, shared history through time's subtle dance. Finally, you allow your mind to float with the twins, both moving through their own rivers of time, yet tethered invisibly. You notice the calm beauty of imperceptible change, the tender poetry of slow separation, the paradoxical closeness within distance. You are present in both perspectives, floating between worlds, and sensing the quiet pulse that binds them. Even as time separates, you feel the connection, the shared breath, the mirrored memories, the continuity of being. And as you linger in this moment, soft and meditative, you sense the next question forming, barely more than a whisper. If motion and distance can stretch time, how does the universe itself pulse, bending not only space but the very fabric of existence? You step into a corridor of glowing threads, each one stretching from star to star, from galaxy to galaxy. These are beams of light, and they are your gentle guides through the cosmos. As you move, you notice how each photon, each tiny particle of light, carries a story of fiery births and quiet deaths, of planets forming and stars fading. The light does not rush. It travels with a rhythm, a heartbeat of the universe that you can almost feel if you pause and listen. With every step along these beams, the distance between here and there begins to dissolve. You feel the subtle pull of the universe's vast expanse. Yet within this journey, time feels intimate, compressed into the pulse of light itself. When a star shines, it is sending information outward, reaching you perhaps hundreds or thousands of years later. You are touching moments that happened long before you existed, yet they arrive now, perfect in their clarity. There is something tender in this delay, a quiet invitation to notice the passage of time not as loss, but as layered depth. You imagine a supernova far away, its light now arriving in your eyes after centuries of travel. You see its explosion not as it is now, but as it was, frozen in the moment of its final flare. This is the way light teaches patience. It reminds you that what you observe is always a gift of the past, a gentle echo of distant events. You realize that every twinkle in the night sky is a messenger, a historian of its own life, carrying secrets in waves of color and brightness. The speed of light is both constant and infinite in its fidelity. It does not stumble or forget. It transmits with perfect honesty. And as you glide along these luminous strands, you begin to sense that light is more than energy. It is information made visible. You can almost hear it whispering across the void. I have seen. I have traveled. I have arrived. Each photon is a traveler, unbroken by distance, untouched by the emptiness it passes through. You marvel at the patience encoded in its motion, the trust it carries across unimaginable stretches of space. Your awareness drifts to the concept of time. Time here is not linear, not rigid. It is a rhythm intertwined with light itself. Each arrival of photons is a marker, a gentle punctuation in the vast narrative of the cosmos. Some moments come swiftly, others take millennia, yet none are lost. You begin to understand how light shapes your perception of time, teaching you that delay can be beautiful, that distance does not diminish significance. The universe becomes a living manuscript, and light is the pen tracing every story onto the fabric of existence. You notice the colors of the beams around you. They are not random, but encoded messages. Red from distant, receding stars, blue from those rushing toward some unseen destination. You feel the emotions of these hues, not in words, but in resonance. Red hums with quiet patience, a warmth of endurance. Blue vibrates with curiosity and movement, a restless desire to explore. In this chromatic symphony, information becomes sensation, science becomes feeling. You are not merely observing, you are participating in the cosmos' gentle communication. As you move further, you encounter a lensing of light around an invisible curve, a subtle bending caused by massive, unseen objects. Gravity shapes the journey of these photons, guiding them around the contours of space-time. You realize that light is never alone. It is in conversation with the fabric of the universe, bending, stretching, and weaving through gravity's embrace. Even in its constant speed, it is influenced by the presence of mass, a reminder that information travels not just in space, but in relation to everything around it. You feel this connection, a quiet reassurance that every path is part of a larger story, every message part of a universal dialogue. You sense the rhythm of arrival and delay more deeply now. You can feel the pulse of light hitting your skin, though no warmth accompanies it, only awareness. Each photon is an echo of events long past, yet its presence is immediate, tangible. The cosmos teaches you through this duality. History is not static, and the present is enriched by knowing it. You begin to meditate on the paradox that distance and time, instead of separating, actually unite. The farther a star, the more profound the patience of its light, the deeper the intimacy of its message. You drift alongside beams that have traveled billions of years, originating from places you cannot imagine, touching regions of space-time you will never visit. Yet their journey ends here with you, in this quiet moment. The enormity of it is not overwhelming. It is comforting. The universe is vast, but light's fidelity makes every story accessible. You feel a gentle kinship with every star and galaxy, connected not through physical presence, but through shared experience, through the trust that the universe's history is arriving to you unbroken. Your mind wanders to the smallest detail. A single photon from a distant quasar, trembling with quantum uncertainty, yet arriving with unerring precision. Its journey has been random, chaotic, yet its message is delivered perfectly. You feel the universe's sense of balance, a harmony that transcends time, a cosmic patience that mirrors your own breathing. With every inhale, you travel further. With every exhale, you anchor yourself to the narrative of light. The story is infinite, yet each moment is intimate, personal, ready to be felt. In this meditation, you realize that light is a teacher of perception. It allows you to witness history without judgment, to experience events without urgency. Its rhythm is steady, gentle, inevitable. You understand that the cosmos communicates in this language of illumination, revealing its structure, its stories, and its subtle poetry. You are no longer merely observing. You are attuned, riding the waves of information, each particle of light a companion, a messenger of wonder and reflection. And as you continue along these beams, you notice that the universe's stories are far from finished. There are flashes yet to arrive, signals from regions you cannot yet comprehend. You feel a sense of anticipation, not of haste, but of quiet curiosity. The dance of light is ongoing, and you are invited to move with it, to listen, to feel, to learn. Each new photon that reaches you is a soft reminder that the cosmos is patient, that knowledge arrives in its own time, and that every moment, even delayed, carries clarity and beauty. You let your awareness drift, carried by this luminous tide. You are both witness and participant, traveler and recipient, in a conversation older than memory. The stars speak in silence, the beams convey their truths, and you, gently floating along, understand that to perceive is to be connected. And even as this chapter of your journey comes to a quiet pause, you sense that beyond the horizon, another rhythm awaits, one shaped not only by light, but by the shadows it passes through, by the dark spaces between stars that hold their own stories. You float into the curvature of space, where distances stretch and shrink, like soft ripples across a silk sheet. Your mind reaches out, tracing the invisible folds that cradle stars and planets alike. Gravity is no longer just a pull. It is a sculptor, shaping not only the paths of celestial bodies but also the very flow of time around them. Imagine a massive star, so dense and so ancient that light itself hesitates as it passes nearby. Around it, space bends subtly, imperceptibly at first, then more distinctly as you approach. The effect is gentle, almost tender, as if the universe itself leans closer to whisper secrets to you. You feel the stretch of moments, the elongation of seconds, as though each heartbeat lingers a little longer, savoring itself. Time in these regions is pliable. It is elastic, flowing differently depending on the landscape it traverses. Near a black hole, it slows dramatically, like honey dripping thick and golden. Far from such cosmic anchors, it moves freely, rushing past in a quiet stream. You can sense the contrast, a rhythm in the cosmos that mirrors the pulse of your own mind, inviting reflection. You drift closer to a black hole now. Its presence is immense yet silent, a void that commands attention without sound. Light curves around it in arcs that seem impossible, weaving patterns that your mind can barely grasp. The event horizon, a boundary from which nothing escapes, looms not as a barrier but as an invitation to marvel at the limits of understanding. Here, you notice that reality is not fixed. It is a flexible fabric, bending under the weight of mass, stretching under the pressure of gravity, folding into itself with a quiet elegance. The sensation is like sinking into a deep, slow current of thought. Each moment feels expanded, every breath a meditation. You notice how even the concept of distance is transformed. A star that appears near might be light years away, yet its influence is tangible, curving the space around you, bending your trajectory subtly. You realize that the universe is not merely a stage upon which events unfold. It is active, dynamic, and responsive, a living geometry that reacts to presence and motion alike. Imagine tossing a pebble into a calm pond. The ripples travel outward, stretching the surface in concentric circles. In a similar way, mass causes waves in spacetime. These ripples, called gravitational waves, move invisibly through the cosmos, carrying with them whispers of cataclysmic events, colliding stars, merging black holes, the birth of new cosmic formations. You feel them as gentle vibrations beneath your awareness, subtle shifts that remind you that the universe is always in motion, always speaking in a language of curves and pulses. As you glide further, you see that not all folds in space are violent or abrupt. Many are subtle, delicate deformations that would go unnoticed if not observed carefully. A planet's orbit around its star is slightly elliptical, a tiny warp in the fabric caused by the interplay of gravity and motion. You recognize the poetry in this. Even the most rigid structures are softened, and patterns emerge not from static rules but from the graceful dialogue of forces acting together. Time's elasticity offers you a rare intimacy with the cosmos. Moments near massive bodies are longer, giving you space to reflect and absorb. Thoughts expand, memories stretch and bloom, as if the universe has lent you its own rhythm to synchronize with. You feel present in a way that is deeper than ordinary perception, a consciousness aware of the delicate weave connecting mass, motion, and the experience of time itself. Consider now two observers, one far from any massive object, the other hovering near the edge of a black hole. They perceive the same event, a flash of light, a collision of particles, but their experiences differ. For the distant observer, it happens swiftly, a fleeting blink. For the one near the black hole, it stretches, elongated into a slow, deliberate sequence. You, floating between these realities, feel both perspectives simultaneously. You understand at an instinctual level that time is a variable, a malleable thread that can be stretched or compressed by the cosmic loom. Even the passage of light is affected. Photons, traveling at the ultimate speed limit, follow paths curved by gravity, bending around objects and creating arcs and rings in space. You imagine yourself tracing these beams, riding along as they wind around a star, feeling the detour imposed by the mass they encounter. There is an elegance here, a choreography of invisible forces, each step precise, each curve inevitable, yet all flowing as if in a dance designed for quiet contemplation. Gravity is not merely attraction. It is the subtle shaping of reality itself. As you move, you notice how it directs, guides, and sculpts, turning empty regions into patterns of motion and stillness. Even in apparent emptiness, there is structure, a hidden lattice of influence where every particle's existence leaves a mark. You sense the interconnectedness, A push here creates a pull there. A shift in one place echoes across light years. The universe is not chaotic. It is responsive, pliable, intimate. You come upon a cluster of stars, each one exerting its own tiny warp on space. The combination produces a gentle, undulating effect, as if the cosmos is breathing. Waves of spacetime ripple outward, overlapping, reinforcing, diminishing. You feel as though you are riding a tidal wave of geometry itself. Each crest a pulse of presence, each trough a soft retreat into quiet understanding. You recognize that reality is not rigid. It bends, stretches, folds, and flows in response to the forces that inhabit it. As your attention drifts, you notice the subtle stretching of your own perception. Moments expand, awareness deepens, and a feeling of profound calm settles over you. You are part of this dance, a witness and participant, feeling the gentle tug of mass, the bending of space, the elongation of time. You realize that to move through such a landscape is not merely to observe, but to inhabit a reality that is fluid, responsive, and endlessly poetic. The universe has shown you that what seems solid and immutable is, at a deeper level, flexible. Space is not an empty container, and time is not a rigid river. Both are textures, layers, and folds, softly yielding to the influence of matter and energy. You carry this understanding with you, a gentle awareness that reality is alive with motion, shaped by invisible hands, and imbued with rhythms you can feel but not always name. Your mind begins to drift, floating gently along the curvature of this cosmic fabric. The edges of the black hole, the pull of massive stars, the stretch of seconds, all become part of a soft meditation. You sense that this pliability of reality is only the beginning, a hint of the deeper connections yet to come. Gravity has taught you that the universe is responsive, spacetime a living dance floor. And as you drift forward, you feel the next questions whispering. If reality can bend and time can stretch, what else might ripple quietly beneath the surface of existence, waiting to be felt? Last lines. You drift gently through the silence of space, weightless and untethered, as though your body has forgotten the pull of Earth entirely. Around you, the curvature of the planet glows softly beneath the black velvet of the cosmos. Stars are scattered like distant lanterns, each one holding a story older than your imagination can fully grasp. You notice the astronauts moving around you, their motions deliberate yet fluid, and you realize that in this rarefied world, every gesture is a quiet meditation. Time here is strange. You glance at a clock floating in front of you, its hands ticking, yet you feel an almost imperceptible difference in the way minutes pass. The calendars that once measured your life now seem ceremonial, distant markers of a reality you once thought absolute. You watch an astronaut touch a tablet, recording data, and wonder at how her body will age slower than it would have on Earth, a subtle consequence of motion and gravity playing their cosmic game. The concept of aging feels gentle here, stretched and softened, like light passing through a thin veil. You imagine the molecules in your own body, vibrating in the quiet rhythm of existence, subtly influenced by the planet's pull far below. Gravity is not gone. It whispers in every movement, in every breath, but its grip is lighter, almost musical in its relentlessness. You sense that life is elastic, that moments expand and contract with a softness you rarely feel on solid ground. Floating beside the astronauts, you become aware of your heartbeat. In the quiet of space, it echoes more profoundly. Each beat is a reminder of the fragile miracle of being, of the intricate machinery of cells and atoms that continue their ceaseless dance. You inhale slowly, and the air in your suit is warm and comforting, a cocoon of life suspended in a void that could otherwise feel infinite and lonely. You notice a fellow traveler adjusting the visor of her helmet, and you marvel at how human presence shapes this alien environment. Even here, in the stark, eternal blackness of space, there is humanity, a persistence of life and curiosity that refuses to dissolve. The astronauts speak in calm, measured tones, voices bouncing faintly in the comm system. You listen, letting their words weave through your awareness, a lullaby of science and wonder. Time itself seems to have texture, The seconds are soft and yielding, bending to the movement of your ship, the orbits traced with infinite patience around the planet below. You recall reading about time dilation, about how motion and gravity bend the flow of moments. It is not an abstract concept here. You feel it in your own being, in the slight tug of a limb, in the stretched reflection of your shadow on a metal panel. The universe teaches patience in these subtle ways, and you are its willing pupil. As you float, you watch an astronaut perform a simple experiment, letting a droplet of water hover in the zero gravity, spinning slowly like a miniature planet. You marvel at how something so ordinary on Earth becomes extraordinary in this new realm. Science, stripped to its essence, is intimate here. Every observation a meditation, every measurement a gentle act of awe. You realize that knowledge does not need urgency in the void. It flows like the calm drift of your body, like the patient orbit of a satellite. The Earth spins silently below you, oceans shifting in swirls of blue and green, clouds painting delicate patterns across the atmosphere. You feel a sense of belonging that is quiet but profound, a reminder that you are part of a vast, interconnected system. Each heartbeat resonates not just within you but in the invisible threads linking your existence to the planet, the moon, and the stars. Life feels simultaneously immense and tender, vast and intimate all at once. You notice the astronauts adjusting their instruments, marking the subtle effects of microgravity on their muscles and bones. Even in these extraordinary conditions, their bodies adapt, a testimony to resilience and balance. You think about your own body, how it too is a vessel of adaptation, responding to forces and energies that are invisible yet omnipresent. There is a poetry in this, science not as cold fact, but as a tender exploration of what it means to exist. The silence of space is never empty. Every movement, every exhalation, every heartbeat resonates, creating a rhythm that is both personal and universal. You find yourself floating near a viewport, gazing at the endless field of stars. Each one is a distant sun, each with its own planets, its own possibilities. You feel the weight of this awareness gently pressing on your mind, but it is not anxiety. It is reverent curiosity, a soft invitation to marvel. You reflect on the relativity of experience, how two observers can witness the same moment yet perceive its passage differently. The astronauts age slightly differently than you, yet in the shared quiet of this orbit, there is no rush, no competition, only the delicate unfolding of life. You sense a connection not just to them, but to every being that has ever gazed up at the sky, imagining the same mysteries, feeling the same awe. Breathing becomes a meditation. You inhale, hold, and release, each cycle echoing in the small universe of your suit. Your mind drifts to the delicate balance of physics and biology, the way electrons orbit nuclei, the way planets orbit stars, the way life persists in fragile harmony. You feel gratitude for the simplicity and complexity intertwined, for the realization that understanding does not diminish wonder, but deepens it. A small satellite glints in the distance, passing silently across the black canvas. You imagine the stories it could tell, the signals it has carried, the human ingenuity that launched it into this serene void. You feel a quiet kinship with all explorers, past and present, whose curiosity has stretched across boundaries and gravity wells, who have dared to touch the infinite with gentle hands. You notice the slow rotations of the space station, the subtle arcs and tilts that adjust for orbit. These movements are deliberate, choreographed by unseen forces, yet they seem almost alive. You feel a sense of harmony, a delicate rhythm between human design and cosmic law. Everything moves, everything responds, everything is connected, and you are part of this ongoing dance. Time continues to stretch and fold around you, like a ribbon of light caught in the vastness. You think about the minutes, hours, and days that are measured differently here, about the ways motion and gravity shape existence itself. And yet, in this silence, there is no hurry. There is only the awareness of presence, of life, of the quiet unfolding of reality in all its wonder. You float, fully present, fully aware, each breath a meditation, each heartbeat a reminder of your fragile, beautiful existence. And as you drift past the astronauts, past the glowing Earth, past the distant stars, you feel a profound intimacy with the cosmos. A gentle thought forms, unspoken. Time is not just measured by clocks or calendars, but by the depth of your attention, the tenderness of your awareness, and the quiet wonder you carry as you journey onward. And in that stillness, suspended among the stars, you sense the next mystery calling softly. A question of how the universe whispers its secrets to those who listen deeply, and how your own mind might learn to hear them. You begin by letting your attention drift outward, beyond the familiar reaches of your own life, to the vast, infinite expanse of the universe. The night sky stretches above you like a velvet curtain, dotted with lights that traveled billions of years to meet your gaze. Each pinprick of luminescence is a messenger from a time you cannot touch directly, yet it speaks softly to the part of you that listens. You feel that the cosmos is a living archive, storing memories in photons that have journeyed through empty space, carrying secrets from epochs long gone. As you observe, you realize that the light reaching your eyes is never merely in the present. It is always a bridge across time. Some stars have already faded, their brilliance extinguished, yet their echoes linger, traveling the vast corridors of space to brush against your awareness. In this way, the past is never lost. It is folded into every moment you witness. You feel your own presence entwined with these threads, a witness to the grand continuity of existence. Time, you notice, is not a simple, straight line. Imagine a tapestry, each thread stretching, curving, and overlapping with another, weaving together moments into a complex, multidimensional pattern. Relativity teaches you that time is pliable, bending in the presence of massive bodies, slowing and accelerating depending on your location and motion. In a sense, the universe allows history to be felt, not just remembered. You can sense this as a subtle vibration beneath your perception, an echo of events that have shaped everything from galaxies to the tiniest atoms in your body. Your mind drifts to the earliest photons, created just after the Big Bang, released into the void as the universe expanded and cooled. These ancient travelers form the cosmic microwave background, a faint glow that blankets the entire cosmos. You imagine yourself drifting alongside these photons, floating through an endless ocean of history. Each step you take seems to resonate with a gentle hum, as if the universe itself is breathing, inhaling the past and exhaling the present in a steady rhythm. It is comforting to feel this pulse, knowing that your existence is part of a larger story, a story written in light and time. As you move through this mental landscape, you sense how the present and the past intertwine. The stars you see are both as they were and as they are. Some supernovae have already detonated, scattering elements across the void, and yet the light of their explosions is only now reaching you. You feel the delicate balance between immediacy and memory, the intimate connection between witnessing and having witnessed. Time becomes a gentle tide, carrying you along in waves of awareness that ripple between what was and what is. You notice the subtle patterns in the cosmic web, the vast filaments of galaxies that stretch across unimaginable distances. These structures form slowly, over billions of years, yet their shapes are already imprinted in the present configuration of space. Gravity has guided them, bending paths, shaping clusters, creating voids where little exists. In observing these formations, you understand that the universe is an archive of processes, a living record of cause and effect. Every galaxy is a page, every star a word, every photon a syllable, writing a narrative that is at once scientific and deeply poetic. The sensation of time folding upon itself becomes more vivid as you consider light from distant quasars. These energetic beacons shine from the hearts of galaxies billions of light years away. You realize that looking at them is not merely seeing a distant object. It is reading a chapter from the early universe. The quasar you observe might have ceased to exist millions of years ago, yet its message arrives intact, traversing the void to reach your consciousness. There is a quiet magic in this. The universe preserves its history with fidelity, offering glimpses into moments that shaped everything, even you. Your awareness expands to include relativity more fully. Massive bodies, like black holes, bend the fabric of spacetime around them. Light curves, Clocks tick differently, and events that seem simultaneous from one perspective are shifted from another. You feel your mind stretching to hold these ideas gently, like a hand cupping a fragile crystal. You do not need to solve equations or prove theorems. Instead, you sense the elegance of these truths, the quiet choreography of mass and motion that governs the dance of the cosmos. In this space of thought, the concept of now becomes fluid. You imagine standing in the middle of the universe, seeing moments unfold in overlapping layers. A supernova erupts in one corner, a planet forms around a distant star in another, and somewhere nearby, your consciousness experiences this chapter. All of it coexists. Past, present, and future are entwined, and you feel a deep serenity in this realization. The universe does not rush. It allows moments to coexist in harmony, and you, too, can rest within that rhythm. You drift further into contemplation, imagining the light that will reach others long after your own moment has passed. The photons leaving your eyes tonight, if ever they escape Earth and travel far enough, might someday be seen by a distant observer. In this way, your own presence becomes part of the ongoing archive of the cosmos, echoing forward, weaving your story into the grand tapestry. The notion is both humbling and comforting. Time is vast, but each moment resonates, leaving an imprint that endures beyond immediate perception. Your thoughts linger on the subtle interplay of memory and anticipation. As you observe the universe, you also sense what has yet to arrive. Light from distant galaxies has not yet touched Earth, yet it exists, traveling silently through space. The future, in this sense, is a hidden layer, waiting to fold into the present. You realize that anticipation and memory are threads of the same fabric. Feeling them gently allows you to move through time with ease, a witness to both the known and the yet-to-be discovered. You take a deep, calming breath, feeling as though the rhythm of your lungs echoes the pulse of the cosmos. Each inhalation is a connection to the past. Each exhalation, a step into the unfolding present. You notice how your thoughts drift like light across cosmic distances, gently illuminated by understanding and wonder. It is a quiet, meditative journey, a reminder that time is neither linear nor lonely. Instead, it is a layered, harmonious continuum, offering the comfort of connection across eons and spaces. In these quiet moments, you sense that you are both a reader and a participant in the universe's narrative. The light from ancient stars touches you, carrying stories of formation and destruction, of creation and transformation. These echoes remind you that the cosmos is alive in subtle ways, preserving memories in the most delicate, persistent forms. You feel a gentle reverence for the laws that allow such continuity, for the intelligence woven into the dance of energy and matter, time and space. Finally, you rest in the awareness that past and future meet in each fleeting instant. Every breath, every heartbeat, every thought is simultaneously an echo of what has been and a seed of what will come. Time is a soft, layered tapestry, threads stretching and folding, carrying history gently forward. You sense that this chapter of the cosmic story is not closed. It is part of an endless continuum, a quiet rhythm you can drift with. And as you linger in this awareness, a thought emerges softly, almost imperceptibly, guiding you toward the next unfolding mystery. Time moves differently here, in the quiet chambers of your awareness. You notice it in the subtle ebb and flow of your own breathing, the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Each inhalation stretches like a thin thread of silk, and each exhalation releases, unraveling into the calm nothingness of space. Around you, the universe whispers its paradoxes in the language of motion and stillness, in rhythms that do not demand understanding but offer quiet reflection. Imagine standing on a distant star, watching your own planet below, spinning slowly like a softly polished marble in a dark velvet sky. There, the seconds stretch and contract, bending under the invisible weight of gravity. One heartbeat for you might seem a long, leisurely walk for another, and a century elsewhere might pass unnoticed. The contrast is not confusing. It is gentle, like sunlight dappling through leaves, patterns shifting yet serene. You float in this contemplation, letting your mind drift over the curious dance of time. Einstein's words echo softly, not as equations but as imagery. The fabric of space-time stretches, folds, and curves, cradling matter like a mother holding her child. You feel the tug of paradox, the sensation of something moving faster and slower at the same time, and it does not disturb you. Instead, it invites a slow, deep curiosity, a soft smile at the universe's quiet playfulness. Every moment contains layers, multiple possibilities whispering to one another. You imagine timelines, not rigid lines, but delicate ribbons weaving through one another, folding and unfolding like the petals of a night-blooming flower. One path might lead to laughter, another to silence, yet all coexist in the serene geometry of the cosmos. You are not lost here. You are cradled by it, held in the gentle tension of what is and what could be. Gravity becomes a teacher in this quiet meditation. Its pull is soft, invisible yet profound. You feel it in your chest as you imagine a heavy planet bending the fabric of space-time, not with force, but with a patient embrace. The curvature slows clocks, elongates moments, and yet does not weigh upon the heart. You sense the universe's patience mirrored in your own body, each cell relaxed, each thought allowed its time. A paradox is present everywhere you look, yet it hums quietly rather than shouts. You observe two clocks, side by side, one stationary, one moving swiftly. The one in motion ticks more slowly, and your intuition whispers, "This is not a problem. It is a lullaby." You feel time's elasticity as a gentle wave washing over your mind, smoothing rough edges, softening the contours of urgency. Aging is no longer a line but a landscape, varying in its slopes and valleys, yet beautiful and predictable in its patterns. You notice that even the smallest motions matter. A light particle traverses galaxies, weaving through spacetime like a silver thread. Its journey may take eons from one perspective, yet in another instant, it has barely begun. This multiplicity is not disorienting. It is comforting. You sense that everything can be both fleeting and eternal, that the paradox is a secret the cosmos shares only with those who pause and breathe. Within yourself, you discover echoes of these cosmic rhythms. Thoughts arrive, linger, and dissolve without resistance. Emotions ripple softly, rising and falling like gentle tides. You realize that your own consciousness mirrors the universe's paradoxes. You can feel both the present moment and the stretch of potential, both the finite and the infinite. There is no rush, no failure, only a continuous folding of awareness into itself. You imagine drifting along a river of timelines, each branch shimmering with possibilities. One flows past your memories, another ahead into dreams you have yet to inhabit. You notice how they brush against each other, folding gently, touching softly, yet never colliding with harshness. In this quiet river, contradictions are invitations rather than problems. You float peacefully, knowing you can experience multiple paths without losing your place, without fracturing into pieces. Here, the paradox becomes meditative. Time is both linear and circular, experienced and imagined, quick and slow. You notice how your heartbeat aligns with these rhythms, how your breath finds a tempo that belongs to no one but you. There is a stillness that holds all possibilities, a quiet assurance that the universe does not hurry, and neither must you. You let go of measurement, of comparison, of expectation, and simply witness the gentle play of cause and effect. As you explore these ideas, gravity and motion seem to converse in whispers. One bends, the other flows, yet both follow the same silent script. You see how the paradox is inherent in all structures. The cosmic web of galaxies, the oscillations of light, the rhythm of your own body. This awareness is calming. It reassures you that contradictions are natural, not disruptive. They are part of the serene, intricate architecture of reality. Your mind begins to fold inwards, reflecting these patterns upon itself. You perceive moments stretching backward and forward, folding into each other like soft origami. Each fold contains both past and future, intention and chance. The paradoxical nature of time becomes a gentle mirror, showing you that you, too, exist in multiple frames, in memory, in anticipation, in presence. This is not dizzying. It is grounding, an anchor in a boundless sea. You feel the elegance of this understanding in your body. Muscles relax, thoughts soften, and your heart beats in the subtle rhythm of the universe. Time no longer presses or demands. It flows as a companion, guiding rather than forcing. You are both observer and participant, suspended in a calm dance of motion, gravity, and potential. Each second is a petal unfolding slowly in a dark, quiet garden, revealing layers of insight without hurry. And as you linger here, in the soft folds of paradox, you notice something remarkable. You are not seeking answers, and yet understanding comes. The contradictions do not frustrate. They soothe. The stretching and compressing of time, the multiple timelines, the subtle warps of gravity, all converge into a gentle realization. Life, like the cosmos, holds space for tension and rest, for mystery and clarity, simultaneously. And so you breathe, letting each inhalation carry the knowledge of these paradoxes, each exhalation release attachment to certainty. The silence of the universe hums quietly in your ears, a lullaby woven from light and gravity, from motion and stillness. You sense that the next chapter of your journey will explore the edges of these contradictions, how complexity and simplicity intertwine, how the threads of existence weave together into a tapestry you can almost, but not quite, fully see. You drift gently, like a feather loosening from a high branch, as the vastness of space slowly recedes behind you. The endless black, dotted with distant stars, begins to soften into familiar blue and white swirls. The journey back to Earth is not abrupt. It is a slow, conscious unraveling of time and space. You notice the way your body adjusts, inch by inch, moment by moment, as if the universe itself is tucking you in, guiding you back toward home. The atmosphere stretches outward like a gentle membrane, and you pass through it with quiet wonder. Every breath you draw seems more deliberate, deeper, more connected to the rhythm of the world. Your lungs remember the air of Earth, and yet, somehow, they carry a whisper of the void you just traversed. The difference is subtle, almost imperceptible, like the echo of a dream you cannot fully recall, yet feel at your core. Time resumes its familiar pace, though your perception lingers on the elasticity of seconds you have just experienced. You remember how a minute could stretch like warm honey, slow and luminous, and how moments could compress, glittering like starlight caught in a glass jar. Here on Earth, the ordinary tick of a clock seems suddenly miraculous. Each second becomes a ripple of existence, a quiet testament to the fluidity that underlies every heartbeat. Your feet brush the soft ground as you descend further. The grass whispers beneath your soles, and the wind folds itself around you like an old friend. You notice the textures, the subtleties, the tiny details of a world that seemed so ordinary before your journey began. Colors shimmer with newfound depth. Shadows and light play in rhythms you hadn't perceived before. The earth is familiar, yet it is subtly transformed in your eyes, alive with layers of meaning you once overlooked. You reflect on how movement through the cosmos felt like swimming through invisible rivers. Gravity was both anchor and guide, bending your body and mind into patterns you had never known. The sensation of floating, of having no fixed up or down, has left its mark. Even now, standing on firm ground, you feel a residue of that freedom, as if the invisible currents of the universe still weave softly around you. Time, once a steady drum, now feels like a supple thread, weaving through your consciousness. You notice how the sun's slow arc across the sky is both constant and endlessly unique. Its light, brushing against the contours of trees, hills, and water, carries the same cosmic rhythm you glimpsed in orbit. You begin to understand, not just intellectually but viscerally, that relativity is not merely a distant, abstract principle of physics. It is lived, it is felt, it is breathed. You pause and watch a falling leaf, spiraling downward in a lazy, unpredictable dance. Its descent mirrors the gentle curves of your own journey back, a reflection of the same universal laws that guided planets, stars, and galaxies. In its motion, you see the poetry of physics, inertia, acceleration, gravity, rendered in the smallest, most intimate form. The leaf does not hurry. It does not resist. It simply moves, and you recognize that movement as a gentle teacher. The heartbeat of your world becomes palpable. You hear it not just in your own chest but in the pulse of life around you. The rustle of leaves, the distant hum of rivers, the soft calls of birds settling in for the evening. Time and life are inseparable, flowing together in delicate patterns, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, but always continuous. You feel a profound gratitude for the chance to witness this rhythm with heightened awareness, to feel the subtle interweaving of space, motion, and consciousness. Memories of your journey shimmer at the edges of perception. You recall the sensation of orbiting silently around distant worlds, the quiet awe of watching light bend around massive stars, the slow expansion of time itself. Those experiences have not left you. They are folded into your being, like secret stars tucked inside your chest. They inform your steps, your breaths, your very sense of presence in this ordinary yet extraordinary earthly moment. As evening settles, the sky deepens into a soft indigo, shadows stretch long, and the air cools with gentle inevitability. The first stars appear, timid yet persistent, reminding you that the cosmos is not distant. It is intimately connected, woven through the very air and light that surrounds you. You feel the vastness above and the grounding below simultaneously, a paradox you now carry with ease. It is the same duality that guided your journey. The infinite and the familiar, the distant and the immediate, the cosmic and the personal. Your body sighs, a release of tension you didn't realize you were holding. Earth cradles you. You feel the subtle tug of gravity, not as a constraint, but as a comforting embrace. Every muscle, every bone, every neuron seems to hum with recognition, of home, of the journey, of the delicate dance between motion and stillness. Even as your mind drifts, tethered between memories and sensations, you notice that the ordinary is extraordinary when seen through the lens of wonder. You glance at a clock nearby, its hands moving with familiar predictability. Yet the way you perceive them has shifted. Seconds are no longer just units of measurement. They are living, breathing moments, each one containing a world within. You feel both the fleeting nature of time and its enduring continuity. It is a paradox that your mind can hold effortlessly, an understanding born not of equations alone but of felt experience. The gentle hum of life around you is meditative. You hear distant footsteps, the murmur of leaves in trees, the soft rush of air through open spaces. Each sound, each movement, is part of a vast, interconnected pattern, a cosmic symphony of motion and rest. You realize that relativity, the curvature of space and time, and the dance of matter and energy are not just concepts in books. They are alive in every tick, every breath, every glance. As night deepens, you lie down on soft grass or a comfortable bed, feeling your body fully supported. The sky above is now studded with stars, quiet witnesses to the flow of time. You close your eyes, carrying both the memory of your journey and the familiar rhythm of Earth's embrace. Your mind floats in a gentle liminality, suspended between the infinite cosmos and your immediate, tangible world. You recognize a profound truth. The extraordinary and the ordinary are inseparable. The cosmos and your consciousness are entwined in a quiet dialogue, unfolding with patient grace. The lessons of orbit, motion, and time are now intimate companions. Every blink, every sigh, every heartbeat is a continuation of the journey, soft, eternal, and endlessly unfolding. And so you rest, feeling the continuity of existence, knowing that the cosmos is not somewhere far away, but threaded through the very air you breathe, the seconds you feel, the life you inhabit. Tomorrow will bring the ordinary again, but now you see it differently, with the quiet awe of someone who has drifted among stars and returned, carrying the poetry of the universe in your chest. You let yourself sink deeper into stillness, aware that the next journey, the next discovery, is not in rushing outward but in noticing, feeling, and understanding the subtle movements of your own world. Time, like you, stretches and folds, flows and returns, endlessly. And as your breath slows and your awareness drifts, you know that the poetry of motion, space, and time continues, softly, quietly, invisibly, waiting for you to notice it again tomorrow.